Hi guys, I'm Doritos, and today I'm going to be showing you guys the most underrated formation on FIFA 23. Let's get into it. These custom tactics are going to be on the 5-1-2-2 formation. This is probably one of the least used 5-backs, and to be honest, one of the least used formations in the game. Since the 5-backs come to people's attention a little bit more, you do see it from time to time, but it's definitely not one of the more popular ones, such as the 5-4-1, even the 5-2-1-2 and the 5-2-2 when I see more often than the 5-1-2-2. This formation gives you an unbelievable ability to play direct. Now, I'm not somebody that tends to play super head on and bombing forward. I generally build up the play a little bit slower and pick my passes, but with this formation, without even forcing it, I just find myself getting forward so fast because of the passing options that present themselves. With the way this formation is formatted and the way it looks, I have set it up a little bit differently to how you'll generally see people set this formation up. Typically, like the number says, 5-1-2-2, you normally have a centre defensive midfielder sitting behind two centre midfielders. I've also seen, and I think it's mainly Harry Hesketh's influence, you often see people put the wing backs on inverted as well for this. I'm not doing that either. The way I've got this set up is more like a traditional 5-3-2, where you've got three operating centre mids working as a unit, and then we're going to have a bit more of a traditional sort of like overlapping wing back vibe. Getting into the custom tactics, starting with the defensive style, we're just going to leave this on balanced. For the defensive style, we're going to have this on 20. If you saw my Tactical Trials episode 2, which was on the 5-2-1-2 formation, we actually had the defensive width on 20 in this, and I really like it. You do sort of give the opponent the wings, but you're very compact in the middle, and you can always bring out your wing backs to cover those areas anyway. You've just got to be aware of that. The depth is going to be on 65, a very aggressive high line. We're not going to be using this 5-back as a hold on, try not to concede, let's just make the game boring. These are really fun attacking aggressive tactics, and 65 depth helps us do that. The build-up play, we'll just leave this unbalanced. Chance creation is direct passing. It's not generally a meta tactic without it. The offensive width, we have this on 25. Again, this is kind of influenced by how much fun I've been having with the 5-2-1-2. On that, I have the width literally on 1. But 1 is not necessary with this because I've got 3 operating centre mids. I did kind of want to stretch it out a little bit more than that tactic. So I put it at 25 and it's worked an absolute treat, so I haven't touched it. The players in the box, we're going to have this on 7. 7 is very aggressive, and I think it's pretty much as high as you can go before you're kind of just leaving yourself really exposed. So again, for an aggressive tactic, 7 is a sweet spot. Corners and free kicks, by all means just put whatever your personal preference is on these. I personally prefer 1 just so I don't get counter-attacked as much. Into the player instructions. So we'll start with the strikers and work our way down. So both strikers are going to be on getting behind and stay forward. Getting behind is an instruction I'd kind of drifted away from a little bit, because when you don't have getting behind on, the strikers don't constantly push on the back line, and with that, they're generally a little bit more available for passes and linking up the play, which is how I like to play the game. However, with this formation, having getting behind on both the strikers is very, very useful, and the reason for that is because of how direct you can attack in this formation. You can get that ball up to your strikers while the defensive line is still very much high up, so there's a lot of space in behind to try and get into. So the getting behind instruction just leans into that and plays to this formation's strengths. Stay forward, it's kind of really the same thing. It's just about those strikers being there, so when you are doing that direct attack, they're already up. You're not kind of working into play with them. They are just there as your options up top. Moving on into our centre midfielders. Now, I'll talk about all 3 at the same time here because this formation is a little bit glitched. So your left centre mid, your centre defensive mid, and your right centre mid are all just going to be on cover centre. And the logic behind this is we just want a flat midfield 3 for these tactics. Now, I say this formation is glitched because in-game, the centre defensive midfielder and the right centre midfielder are actually the other way around. If you look at our right centre mid here, do you notice how it's got the defensive tactics, but on the DM and the left centre mid, that it has the centre mid tactics? So whoever you put as the CDM in this build here on the tactics, they will actually be the right centre mid in game, and whoever you put here as the right centre mid will actually be this person here in the CDM role. So it's really important, whoever you want at CDM, you play at right centre mid, and whoever you want at right centre mid, you put in the CDM position. It's just a glitch in the sort of tactical setup in this game. We have them all on the cover centre instructions, so they do operate as like a flat midfield 3, more like a traditional 5-3-2, which was very, very strong in last year's meta. Now, I have Socrates here as my middle centre mid in game, and normally you would obviously have the DM as like a stay back instruction, a guy in the hole, but the flat midfield 3 is very strong for winning the ball high up the pitch, again suiting this aggressive style of play. So I like to have that big man in the middle so you can win that ball high up and then just ping in a pass to your front men and capitalise on the chance you've made. Next is our left wing back and our right wing back. So both of these are just going to be completely on balance. No overlap, no stay back while attacking, no inverted running style, just completely balanced. This is something I'm gravitating towards a lot more lately. I find that during the attack is very effective for them committing very early. However, balanced, I'm not really having an issue with getting them involved. And the thing with overlap is I feel like you get a little bit more of a generic kind of run out of them, whereas if you've got good players, trusting their AI is not a problem. So I leave these completely unbalanced. I'm finding them both getting super involved in the attack still. I don't feel like I'm having to force it too much to get them involved. I naturally will kind of trigger runs anyway in games. So if you're someone that doesn't do that, maybe join the attack would help. But for me personally, just completely default on these wing backs just seems to really complement this formation. For our centre backs, they're all just going to be on the default, which is of course stay back while attacking. Same with the goalkeeper. If you like the comes for crosses and sweeper keeper instruction, by all means go for it, but I personally just leave this unbalanced. Next, we'll talk about what are the best types of players to use to get the most out of the formation. Now, I do feel like with this, there's a little bit of like room for what you kind of like yourself in general. However, I'll give you kind of what I found to be very effective. Starting with the striker. So I have, yes, that is a red team of the season Mbappe. It's a very lucky pull. And I also have the Tammy Abraham road to the final card. So in essence, I find a very fast, direct, skillful player like an Mbappe suits this direct style an absolute treat. The ability to manoeuvre on the ball, work the space in the box, and just be clinical on goal is absolutely complementary to the way this formation plays. For the other striker position, definitely someone like a team of the season Lewandowski, a Harry Kane if you don't use skill moves. But generally I found a tall 4-star, 5-star player like Abraham, like Lewandowski, is really complementary for this formation, especially if you do pair them with that other striker like an Mbappe. For your 3 centre midfielders, so I have Dybala, Socrates and Musiala as my 3 centre mids. I have Dybala as the left centre mid, very much an emphasis on one of them just being a true attacker like Dybala, high-low work rates. He is only 4-star, but his dribbling, literally, like, his base stat is 99. He is obscenely liquid on the ball. He's phenomenal. So just a true attacker. Seems to work really nicely as one of the centre mid spots. I would definitely have them as either the left or the right centre mid. For the other centre mid, so if you have them on the left, then for example on the right, I would have again a very capable attacking centre mid like this Musiala card. They're all going to get very much involved in the attack and the defence, so it's just very important that they all have great ability on the ball. They have great passing because the nature of this formation is you're moving the ball about very quickly. So if they don't have very good passing, they will often make loose passes because of how quick you're trying to do it. So out-and-out attacker, I would have another out-and-out attacker but with some defensive capabilities like this Musiala card, but then definitely in the middle, once again, I still would say like you want that Hullet-esque player, somebody that can do everything. However, this new Socrates card that I'm using, my word, what a card. He's the absolute destroyer in midfield at like 6'4", rapid, amazing defensive stats, but like base passing stat of 96, a base dribbling stat of 95, 87 shooting, like just a complete player, but still that huge physical specimen. That is definitely what you want in the middle of the park. Someone completely rounded and an absolute unit. Next is the wing back. So these are very important in the formation because they are your only wide players. So I use this team of the season Davies as my left wing back, and I use this new Shapeshifters Bamba as my right wing back. The emphasis here is very high pace, and if they've got a very high base pace stat, then that definitely helps. It just really makes them feel like they can keep up with anybody. I would aim for a minimum of the controlled or lengthy accelerate type, so do avoid explosive because they're generally going to be running over longer distances, both forward and back, so you don't want them slowing up as they cover more distance. On top of that, you want ability on the ball. If you use skill moves, then aim for at least 4, but the emphasis here is you want them to have very good dribbling stats and very good passing, because they are very, very much involved in the interplay throughout the whole of your attacks. Next is, of course, your centre-back. So I use Sergio Ramos bang in the middle. Then I use this Goretzka card, who I move into the left centre-back position because of that 5-star weak foot. And then on the right centre-back slot, I use this new Team of the Season, Chris Smalling. With your centre-backs, you always want them to be fast, strong and lengthy, and you want them to be as high calibre as possible to get you the most favourable defensive animations as possible. I want to give a special shout out to this Chris Smalling card because he has been excellent for me. I think it's probably just his large frame that makes him so good, but I find like his transitioning speed out of the defence, like if you look at this clip here, is absolutely superb. It just does not give your opponent the chance to like react to you stepping out. He's absolutely fantastic. So yeah, fast, strong, lengthy, as high caliber as possible, or Chris Smalling, and you're generally going to find you stop the majority of your opponent's attacks. As for your goalkeeper, as always, whoever works, if you find a working keeper, stick with them, don't change them. Let me know what you guys think of the tactics. I don't think these are going to be for everyone because they're very aggressive. So if you're somebody that's looking at this 5-back tactic because you don't want to concede any goals, then yeah, you might want to look at a different one of mine, maybe like a 5-4-1 or something if you want to be really ratty. But to be honest, this is all about being as offensive as possible without being silly. And this formation feels absolutely fantastic. I love the way that the 3 centre mids operate like 3 centre mids and not having one sort of just sat in the hole. I just didn't like that approach. It didn't work for me. But I always remember the 5-3-2 that used to be in the game and how just obscenely dominant the midfield shape was like that. And literally setting up your 3 centre mids in this formation with just a cover centre instruction and nothing else literally formats it exactly like how that 5-3-2 used to be. So give these a go, let me know what you think, and if you did enjoy the custom tactics, I will link my custom tactics playlist in the description for you guys to check out. If you did make it this far in the video though guys, as always, I really appreciate your time. If you did enjoy it, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and turn your bell on. Take care guys.